2 years ago, my dad divorced my mom because he had found a new girlfriend. He literally threw her out of the house and said, "Bye-bye," with a big smile on his face. Yes, he was a terrible human being. And you might be surprised that someone like him worked as a judge, but he was very skilled at pretending to be a righteous person to the outside world. Only when you got to know him more closely, you'd see what kind of monster he was. The same day he threw out my mom, his new girlfriend moved in. He'd probably cheated with her on my mom for months. She was 20 years younger than my dad, but actually seemed like a nice person. I guess she stayed with him because he bought her jewelry and took her out on vacations. I had no idea how my dad suddenly had so much money to spend, but I figured it was none of my business. Well, until my mom called me and asked why my college fund was empty. She and dad had put money in there for the last 15 years and saved up $30,000. When I asked my dad, he said, "I've raised you and I owe you nothing. I've spent the money over the last few months on me and my girlfriend." I was speechless. My dad had spent my mom's savings on the same girl he had betrayed her with. I had never felt more disgusted by a human being. And when I told my mom what dad had done with my college money, she collapsed and almost had a complete breakdown. Meanwhile, I was so furious that I went to his new girlfriend and told her everything. How my dad had betrayed my mom with her and how he had spent my college funds on himself. I wanted to let her know what kind of monster my dad really was. And it worked. She was just as disgusted by my dad's behavior as I was and broke up with him the same day. Of course, I was satisfied. But when my dad found out that I had destroyed his relationship, he went nuclear and screamed, "You will regret this terribly. I'll destroy you, and you will beg on your knees for forgiveness once I'm done with you." I didn't think he would actually take revenge on his own son. But I was dead wrong, because he literally destroyed my future. Here's how he did it. I was a pretty good soccer player and dreamed of making it into the big league. My chances were pretty good as I had already won many titles. But every 2 months, I had to do a drug test. I didn't mind it though because I had nothing to hide. However, a week after they had taken my blood, my coach came up to me and said, "We've tested your blood and something is wrong. We have found 2 illegal substances, beta blockers and EPO." I was stunned. I said, "That can't be true. There must be a mistake. I want you to test my blood again." My coach agreed, but 1 week later, the test came back with the same results. My coach said, "According to our rules, we have to suspend you for 2 years. And you also have to find a new club." I was shocked and started crying. A 2-year suspension might not sound like much, but I knew my soccer career was over. I went home, looking very sad. My dad and I hadn't talked in weeks, but when he saw me with tears in my eyes, he asked, "What's wrong? Did something bad happen?" I said, "It's none of your business." He responded, "I'm your father. I need to know what's going on in your life." I said, "My blood got tested and came back positive on 2 illegal substances." He said, "Steroids and EPO?" I said, "How do you know?" And a big grin appeared on his face as he said, "It was just a guess." I immediately knew he was behind all of it. It was his revenge for me destroying his relationship. I saw the kitchen knife right next to me. I was willing to use it, but I didn't want to go to prison, and luckily, I was able to control myself. He continued, "I told you not to mess with me, son. And next time, you better make sure no one pours any substances into your meals." Wow, I was about to explode. I needed to take revenge. I needed to completely and utterly destroy his pathetic life. So I quickly developed a plan. A horrible plan, but my dad deserved it. The world would be a better place without him. Here is how I did it. I asked his ex-girlfriend for help. I told her what my dad had done and paid her $300 to sit down with me on the couch and to pretend to make out with me when my dad entered the house. He said, "What the hell?" And in that moment, his ex-girlfriend and I turned around and looked at him. I couldn't hold back a smile. My dad looked like he was struck by lightning. He needed a few seconds to process that his son was making out with his ex. Then he started screaming, "This will be the last day of your life!" and ran towards me. I pushed his ex aside and started wrestling with my dad. I was much stronger than him, so I wasn't in any serious danger. But I pretended otherwise. I screamed, "No! Don't hurt me, Dad! Please let me live!" Of course, I was filming everything on my video camera. Everything went according to plan, and he kept screaming, "You won't survive this!" But after 2 minutes, I had had enough and pushed him down from me. I took the camera and said to my dad, "This was just the beginning. You think you've destroyed my future? Well, I'm about to destroy your whole life." I edited the recording of our fight and went to the police. There, I filed a report. This was perfect because if my dad got convicted of a felony, he would lose his job as a judge. It was 2 weeks until his trial where he got sentenced to 3 months in jail and lost his license to practice as a judge. But it gets even better. While he was in prison, I went into his house and sold everything he owned. In total, I got $20,000 for all his belongings. It was less than he had stolen from my college fund, but I was still satisfied, and even gave $5,000 to my mom to support her. Unfortunately, I didn't see my dad's face when he came out of prison and found his house completely empty. I know he went nuclear though, because he sent me dozens of messages, threatening to take revenge on me again. But I feel like we are finally even. Also, let me know in the comments if you think that I've taken it too far.